Hello, and welcome back to Aubrey Books and Coffee. Please grab your favorite beverage of choice and join me. So we're going to review about 20 books today. So June was kind of a busy month, but not as busy as some of the others that we've had before. But I don't know if you're as anxious as I am to hear about reviews, but I always appreciate it because if I find that my taste kind of goes along with a booktuber that I enjoy following, then whenever they have reviews, I get to put more on my TBR list. So moving on. I'm actually going to start with the writing portion of the TBRW that I did for June, only because I also want to say a great big hello to the new subscribers. Last weekend, I was able to be blessed to be a part of the Organized 365 community. Lisa Woodruff put on a beautiful conference that she called the Embrace Conference. It's the last one that they're doing for a while. I got to meet so many wonderful people, and this whole conference is about encouraging you to have that courage to do what you're uniquely created to do. And so it was empowering and it was wonderful. And hello and welcome for those of you that are watching now that I got to meet while at the conference. I also got to say at the conference that I was so excited by all the advice that Lisa gave because it encouraged me to continue writing. And as my subscribers who've been here since the beginning know, I have slowly been making progress. So now I actually get to start on book 3, and I am so excited about that. I've already got the outline done. I've even gotten a couple chapters under my belt, but that's where I'm at now. I want to make sure all the subscribers know where I'm at. And then I am still planning on releasing at least the first book, if not the second one, getting published next year. And I am moving forward in the progress of that. So stay tuned. So with the writing prompts, there were 4 for the month of June. The first one was to do my blog. I did get this organized. I even got it all typed up, and we're having some technical difficulties because it's supposed to automatically release, but right now it's having to be manually released. So thank goodness I'm married to a brilliant IT guy, so he's looking into that. So do stay tuned. If you go to the aubreyauthor.com, you can subscribe to the newsletter. It'll give you a welcome newsletter right away. And it's supposed to send you that PDF of 100 things to learn in 100 days of summer that I am teaching with my own child. But for some reason, it's not automatically doing it. And then it's also not sending out the weekly blog. So patience, please. It is the first time I've ever had a blog and the first time I've ever had a website, but I promise to get it up and running way before the book starts coming out. The second rule was to write a climax scene. I did that for my second book. I went in and I rewrote some things that I felt could have been better, and I was more inspired to work on that. And so that became the climax scene that I did. The third prompt was to write 4,000 words, and I obviously accomplished that and then some. And then the last prompt was to edit some chapters, which of course I did. And now I'm in a search for a professional editor to go over my first and second book so that it can be the best it can be when it comes out to you guys. So moving on to the TBR reading portions. I ended up having 6 rolls total because we had a coffee break that added 2 rolls. So I did the book Gone But Not Forgotten. And this I gave a 3-star. It was supposed to be my scary choice. Wasn't really that scary. It felt almost part Grisham kind of a novel where it had a lot to do with the lawyers and the DA and finding evidence. It was okay. It was a decent read. Not anything that's gonna, I think, wow anybody over, but it was a decent read. Then The War of Two Queens. And this one, of course, I gave a 5-star. You guys know I love my Jennifer Armentrout, and I love this from Blood and Ash series. I, for some reason, thought this was gonna be the last book in that series, but it's not. She's gonna have to come out with another one because she kind of left it on a cliffhanger. So just a heads up there. Then I read Electric Idol. Now this I gave a 3-star. Again, it's a nice little saucy book. So you don't expect it to be just overwhelming you with plot and character development or anything like that, but it is a fun little saucy book. Then I read Namesake. I gave that one a 4-star. And I thought this was it, that this was a tie-up, and it tied up the series nicely, the duology. And then I was doing the reading sprints with Kim from Whimsical Narratives. And she said during her reading sprint that actually they're going to come out with another book called Saint. And I don't think it spoils anything to tell you that's the name of her dad. And so I am so excited about this, and I can't wait till they release it. I'll let you know when I know. Then I read Ballad and Dagger. This one I gave a 3-star. It was from a book box. It was interesting. I had never read a book that had so much to do with music and songs as part of the story and woven in between it. So it had some interesting things that were really culturally specific and were kind of beautiful to get to read about, but it was really kind of out there for me. And so for me in particular, it was worth reading, but nothing that blew me away. Then I read A Court of Frost and Starlight. And of course I gave that a 5-star. You know, I'm a Sarah J. Maas junkie and I love her books. And it was really thin and tiny, but it allowed you to kind of see what's going on and prepare you for the last novel. Then I had The Apothecary Jar Pick. And for this, it was Bone Crier's Moon. I didn't even really realize what this series was about or knew anything about it. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I gave it a 3-star, but that being said, I'm actually excited to read the next one, and I'm betting the next one will be even better. So it's one of those where I may start out, okay, I like it, I'm intrigued, and then as I read them, I start really loving them. If you remember, going back to Namesake, I read Fable, which was the first book, and I gave that a 3-star, but now Namesake got a 4-star, and depending on what they do with Saint, may even be a 5-star. So sometimes the series just needs to plot build and world build, and then it gets better, and I think that's the case in Bone Crier's Moon. Then I did that Bookopoly rule, and I got Emma. And of course, you know, I love Jane Austen, so she got a 5-star. Then I had the Reading in Color book club, and we read Crooked Hallelujah. Now with this one, I gave it a 2-star. It just wasn't for me. It started out really good and interesting, and I was pulled into the characters. But then as the generations got older and you saw more and more of the generations and things started really going wrong for a lot of people, it just kind of lost me, especially when they started bringing in a young boy and his relationship with his mother and her bad health. And then just from there, it just kind of lost me. So I gave it a 2-star. Then, of course, May was so busy with like 23 plus books. I had 2 I had to roll over into June, and I did finish those this month. The Hacienda. I gave that a 2-star, and I know you guys are going to be kind of mad at me because several of you were reading it too and loved it. This was my first into a Hispanic Gothic horror kind of genre. So it could just be that I had never read anything like that before. But for me, it's like I really enjoyed the relationship between the main character and the padre, but it just felt kind of repetitive a lot. There wasn't a lot of make you jump moments. There wasn't a lot of progression in the story, I felt. So it just didn't do it for me. Then, of course, I had to finish Nevernight, and you can see it back there, and it was a 5-star for me. Now, if you don't like little end notes there on the bottom of the page that give you little factoids or little funny anecdotes, then ignore them. A lot of people said they would have loved Nevernight if J. Kristoff hadn't put those in the bottom, but I'm thinking just don't read them. You know, just don't go down in that lower half of the page. But I did. I thought they were hilarious. Some of them were just extra content that I could take or leave, but some of them were absolutely hysterical, and they actually got used later on in the book. If you read them, then you would understand some of those little, end notes. So I thought it was hysterical. I can't wait to continue the series. I love the main character, and I just, it felt to me almost like a Game of Thrones, where the young sister ends up going to a place where they teach her how to be an assassin and can change her face and stuff like that. So if you've seen the series, I hope I didn't spoil anything. That's what it felt like here, like how to train them to be assassins. And it was just a really good story. I really enjoyed it. Then I had an Owl Crate box come in, and so I added Jade Fire Gold. I gave that a 3-star. Didn't blow me away, but it was a solid story worth reading, or in my case, listening to. And also in that box, they had some items that were inspired by the Song of Achilles. I gave that a 3-star. That one I actually enjoyed more. I had never heard that version of Achilles before with his best friend and their relationship growing up as 2 boys together, and then later on they're fighting with Troy and everything. And I thought it was good. I really enjoyed the story. Then I got an Illuma crate in, and they had books items that were inspired by the book Daughter of the Moon Goddess. This I gave a 3-star. It was a very sweet story. I really enjoyed it. I love the main character and her whole struggle, between the dynamic of a boy she likes, a boy she probably should like, and trying to help her mom escape a curse. And it really was a fun read. Then I read the book in that box, Book of Night. This I gave a 3-star. And here's where I'm going to give a little bit of a spoiler, because later on in the month, next month, you guys are going to see me unbox this special edition so you can see it. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I say in that video that you have to come back here to see if this book was a 5-star or not, because it's a 5-star. I'm keeping that special edition that I got. If it's not a 5-star read for me, then I get to give it to you guys when we do our drawing. It was not a 5-star for me. I gave it a 3-star read. It was a solid read, but it was weird. It was out there talking about glow mists and shadows, and it left the story with me going, what? And it didn't feel satisfying at all at the ending for me. So I gave it a 3-star. You may love it, and the book is gorgeous. And so when we hit 75, you guys, it's up for grabs. Then I got a bookish box, and in that one was River of Shadows. This was a surprise win for me. And you can see it actually up there on the shelf, that gold, that was the inner jacket. I like that better than the purple outside jacket it came with. 5-star, love it. And I know I'm not done reviewing all my books, but just so you know, for the month of June, River of Shadows is what won against Sarah J. Maas, against Jennifer Armentrout. It was a sleeper for me. I'd never heard anything about it, and I was hooked. She had so many references to things that I love, and sci-fi and all kinds of fun things, and she's very sarcastic with her humor, and I had never read a story like this before. And after reading the author's note in the book, I didn't realize that her father had passed away, and so this story, part of it is this daughter trying to rescue her father, and so it was just beautiful. It just added so much more to it. Also, fun fact, the last section of the book is actually extra content that's for Bookish Box only subscribers if you get that book through Bookish Box, and it's actually the whole story from Death's point of view. So totally worth reading, totally worth checking out. Then I got a Scribbler box, and they had the book Beautiful Little Fools. I gave this one a 4-star. It was really good. The writing style was real easy to read and follow along. It had several different points of view of the characters. It's about the friendship of these women and going through life back in, I think it was the 40s or 50s. And so it was really, really good. It almost felt kind of like The Great Gatsby as well. It really read well, and it was fun. Then the book of the month choice for June for me was The Stardust Thief. And the funny part was that I had gotten one in a book box as well, and it was beautiful with a purple cover and purple sprayed edges. This one was a 3-star for me. It was a good story. I loved the djinn that were in it. I loved the powers. I loved the whole story. But there were parts that really just went so slow for me that it just lost me. I like my books to be, let's move along. Maybe a little bit of world building and then let's move on. I don't like things repeating, and there was some repetitive stuff in it. And so because of that, though, it means you guys have the option when we hit 75 to choose that beautiful version of The Stardust Thief for yourself. Once Upon a Book Club box came in. Here's another little spoiler, because the full video review of that box and all their little gifts is going to come out later after this. And I just want to say the book that was in it, Darling Girl, for me was a 4-star read. I really enjoyed the story, and I'm not telling you anything about the gifts. You'll have to watch that video for that part, but it's definitely worth reading. It's a take on Peter Pan, where they've already come back from Neverland and all the darling generations after and what's going on with them. And it is a really good read. Then last but not least, Another spoiler here. This is just what happens whenever I have to get these reviews out, because these are books I did read in June, but there's only so many days in the week and I want to make sure I have content to fill the whole month. So I apologize that it does have spoilers sometimes. But I had a book haul, and you'll have to watch the video to see all the goodies that came in that book haul. But one of the books that did come in, I did read, and that was I Could Pee on This. Now, it was so cute looking with the cat on the cover, and it was supposed to be poetry written by cats. And there were maybe 3 poems in there total that I really liked, and that was it. Some of them didn't even make sense to me. Some of them were just weird, and I just couldn't. So I gave it a 2-star overall. But thank you guys for joining me. That's my review for the month. Please feel free to like, subscribe, comment below, send your friends, and thank you guys again. I so enjoy sharing books and my writing with you. Take care.